Hello, guys, and welcome to Miss German Let's Talk. Here we dive into the wildest, funniest, and darkest Reddit stories we can potentially find on the internet. So grab a drink, sit back, and let's get right into today's episode. So, what are we talking about today? A Reddit I'm sorry. A Reddit user is asking solo travelers, what is your creepiest travel story? I found some interesting stories to have a look in. I haven't read through them a lot, but I've read some couple of sentences, so let's get right into it. In Argentina, Patagonia, I hope I said it right, almost got hunted by a puma. Okay. It was dusk, and I was overlooking the lake when I heard rustling behind me in the tree line. I kept staring. Okay, the first question is for that I have for older travelers, right? Because I love being on my couch and looking at reels and stuff. But how do you guys find like the motivation to go like alone into like the wilderness and then don't expect anything to happen? So I kept staring for a while before I saw it, and thank God it didn't make a run for it, as it would have been my initial reaction. Instead, I started yelling and cursing and throwing rocks at it at it as I had been. Guys, I really need someone to like read this because I'm too. Okay, I had been told to do by the locals, and it left me alone. That night, I kept the fire lit until late in the evening, and then went to sleep with a flashlight on and my knife at hand. And that's not to sound badass. I've never used it to hunt, and I was scared as shit. Okay, guys. Honestly, now I have to imagine just because he says like I was starting to yell and curse and throwing rocks, like I have to imagine like what's going on in the head of that puma. Probably like you should have just like called it a cunt and then it just gave up because you totally demoralized him. Yeah, like the puma would be like, "Geez, buddy, I'm just trying to survive here, okay? So no need to get that personal, you know." So well, that is a crazy, crazy scenario that we're having here. But I have another interesting guy here saying, I was shitting. I was shitting in an open hole toilet in India, and a monkey came right at me. I came so close to slinging my shit at him, but he backed down when some other guys came around. That's actually crazy. Especially the wording, like slinging my shit. Like, you're telling me you were so scared of a monkey, you were willing to dip your hands in your shit and throw it at him? Like, monkeys are no joke. Like, I get it. Okay, he's riding also. Like, monkeys are no joke. When you got okay, I'm not gonna read that, but like when you got your beep hanging out and just took a wet Indian beep in a hole you're squatting over. Tourists are always trying to feed them and going up to them. It is just terrifying. Well. That was a lot about monkeys, but next story. I was staying in a BB in Donegal in Ireland. I never heard about this. Donegal. Hope. I'm sorry for locals. I'm sorry if I misread this. In Ireland, where every room on the floor shared a bathroom. I went in one morning to pee, and there was a man with his pants around his ankle asleep in the bathtub. Well, I'm wondering now, is this user a woman or a girl? A woman, girl, man? What's going on? Must be terrifying. The soap dish and towel rack were all torn off the wall, and it appeared he had fallen over while relieving himself and fallen in the tube. While struggling to get out with his pants down, he had torn things from the wall. He then proceeded to pass out. I woke the man and helped him from the tube, after which he proceeded to hug me and declare me his hero, and this is how I ended up embraced by a drunken Irishman with his pants around his ankle. Well, guys, I'd say this is violently Irish. And that's why I tell everybody who goes traveling and who's alone, please make sure you look at what you booked. And talking about that, let's go to the next story. For me, it was when I was driving from Georgia to California to visit a friend. I didn't want to fly because I wanted to sightsee on the way. When I go to San Diego, the hotel I booked on Expedia screamed run from the get go. But I was exhausted and I wanted to rest. Okay, I kind of get that. So got my room key and checked in. I locked the door, and because I'm always on guard, I locked the bar on the door for extra safety. About 4 a.m., I was sleeping and heard someone trying to come in my room. Oh, that's one of the most scariest thing that can happen to a solo traveler, honestly. When someone is trying in those kind of times to come into your room at 3 a.m., you're like, it's either a ghost who wants to kill me or like a serial killer. But okay, they had opened the door but couldn't get past the little bar that was locked. Okay. I quickly got up, threw clothes on, and went to the door to see what was going on. Two guys outside the door with their hands in the slit of the door yelling at me. They kept saying, "Come here, pretty girl," or a pretty face. Oh my god, that's actually scary. Or something like that. I called the front desk to see what was going on, and they said, "Oh, I didn't know you were still here." Oh, ooh, I was beyond furious and went to the front desk with all my stuff. The lady at the desk said I didn't have a reservation, even thought I had my paper saying I checked in, my car, decal stickers for parking there, and the room key. She said she rented the room out that I was in for the next month. Flabbergasted, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She looked up my information and said, "Oh, I see you didn't book with us but Expedia. We don't partner with them." Ah, still confused as to why the world and I was given a room, paid for it, and I had issues being in it. She refused to call her manager at 5 a.m. by that point, so I waited until they got in at 9 a.m. The man of the refund got it and checked out. No matter how terrified the ordeal probably seemed, I think it would have ended differently had I not locked the bar on the door. Well, guys. That is actually a shady as fuck story. But also, guys, make sure wherever you book, if it's like either booking.com, Expedia and stuff, like double check what you're booking, because sometimes the referrals with the hotels and the websites are not like clicking in with the website where you book. It's a kind of weird thing, even if they are not like well when they even not partner with them, and then giving like this kind of like fault to the person who's like in the room, like it's obviously a fault of the hotel, but like that's a very terrifying story that we're having here. And now let's go to the next story that was happening in Germany, Berlin. Had some dude try to haul me off my first day in Berlin. He stopped to ask me a question when I was in Tiergarten and proceeded to grab me by the wrist and refused to let me go. These days, guys, I gotta say, Germany became like a really scary place to be, unfortunately. But I had to told him I was going to Alexanderplatz, and he started dragging me out of the park, telling me he would show me a shortcut that he insisted would only take 5 minutes to get there. For those of you that have never been, it's at least 30-minute walk. I was so panicked, I didn't know what to do and couldn't even scream. All I could think was that he was going to take to somewhere where no one would be able to help me. I had a friend who I was staying with in the city text me at the right time and managed to back off and say she was waiting for me back at the Brandenburger Tor station, which was the opposite direction. He only let me go if I open mouth kissed him goodbye and gave me his number, which he made me call, so he was sure I had the right one. He was pulling me towards the Holocaust memorial, so after he let go, I rushed to it and hid in it. Well, that's not the best place to hid, I can tell you, but so it is, so he wouldn't follow me. Funnily enough, that night I was the first day of the 2014 World Cup, I was still really shaken, but still wanted to watch the game. I also wanted to go somewhere where I could talk to people in English because I was very fucked dealing with Germans at that point. I ended up at an Irish bar, and the Irish bartender is now my husband, and we live in Berlin. Well, listen, girl, that story turned out really well for you because okay, even if the bartender is Irish, you live in Berlin now, so you know what to avoid, what not to avoid, who to trust, but not fuck all the Germans, please. Not all of them are bad, but most of them are bad. And with that said, guys, no, I was kidding. Not all of Germans are bad. I don't want to be striked. Guys, be nice to me. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today's stories. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more. I'll be back soon with more crazy Reddit stories. See you next time. Bye.